Gotham City is under attack. A mysterious blizzard hits the city and a giant monster is roaming the streets, destroying everything in its way. Some members of the Justice League, like Green Arrow and the Flash, and the Bat Family, Nightwing and Robin, are trying their best to rescue civilians, but the freezing weather and the monster were too much for them to handle. That's when Batman comes to the rescue. Batman creates a huge mech armor to fight against the monster and save the city. 2 weeks before the fight against the monster, Batman and Robin review some of Batman's biggest villains. Some of them, like the Penguin and Mr. Freeze, were imprisoned by Batman years ago. In their imprisonment, Mr. Freeze came up with a plan to get revenge on Batman and rule Gotham once again. With the help of his last invention, Freeze transformed animals into gigantic versions of themselves. He started with an experiment on a little crab. With a blast of his invention, the little crab became a monster, and together they tried out the strength of the creature on a nearby oil plant. The creature destroyed most of the plant, but the workers from there had some Wayne Tech lasers that helped them defeat the monster. Frustrated, Mr. Freeze and Penguin went back to them to solve the issues with the monster tech. The Penguin assures Freeze he could help improve the machine, but for that, he needed to go back to Gotham. Mr. Freeze didn't want to fall for the Penguin's trick once again, but then again he wanted to improve the machine. They both start on the way to Gotham City. Back at Gotham, Batman and Robin have to attend a Wayne Enterprises party. As Bruce tries his best to sell his public appearance to the surrounding people, Robin just goes around talking to the people that he knows, like Oliver Queen Green Arrow. Bruce's aim is to convince a war general to buy their latest piece of technology, with the same tech Wayne Industries uses for the laser that drills at the North Pole. They now develop an armored suit. This suit has incredible strength and can even heat solid objects for mining. Bruce then gets a call. There was a breach in Arkham Asylum, so he and Robin disappear from the party and start their journey to Arkham. The ones making the attack on Arkham are no other than Penguin and Mr. Freeze. Penguin's plan is to release some of the other villains from Arkham and use their special abilities with the Machine of Freeze. He liberates Bane, Killer Croc, Chemo, and even Clayface. Some of these villains don't get along, like Killer Croc and Bane, who have a history and were previously enemies. On their way, they come across the Joker who begs them to set him free, but Penguin dislikes the clown and tells them that the team is already full. Jokers then swear that he will get his revenge on the Penguin. Once Batman comes in to stop them, all the villains come together to fight him. With the help of Green Arrow and Robin, they slow down the villains. But Freeze had an escape plan and, before they could react, they fled, leaving no tracks behind. With the villains now loose, Robin explores the archives of the Batcave once again, trying to find clues about where they could be. Batman can't find the link between the villains, and Penguin chose them for a reason. That's when Robin cracks it. The villains all have different compounds to increase strength and durability. With their power combined, it could become something bigger. In the meantime, Freeze is conducting his experiments. First, he isolates the chemicals that make each of the villains special, then he combines them into a monster machine. The last step is to try it out on Killer Croc since he is the one more durable than the other three. The experiment is a success, and Croc transforms into a giant monster. He attacks the city and freezes the place with the power that Mr. Freeze gave him. Batman and Robin are on their way to stop the experiment, but they are too late. They find Killer Croc already destroying the city and starting a blizzard. Batman tries to fight Croc in the Batmobile, but he is too tough to damage even with Batman's most powerful weapons. But that's not all. Mr. Freeze also used the monster machine on Chemo, and he was freezing the entire city too. Back at the lab, Mr. Freeze is contemplating his success, and Penguin uses his distraction to steal some of the serum from the monster machine, probably to use for his own plans later. While Mr. Freeze wants to do the same thing with the rest of the world, the others in the villains team are not so sure about it, especially Penguin, and start planning on how to take the control of the monster from Freeze. But Freeze raises this and attempts to stop Penguin from even trying to start a rebellion against him. Unfortunately for him, Penguin already had the upper hand. With the serum that he stole, he injected Bane and Clayface and transformed them into his own monsters. Freeze advises they don't do it, since they don't have the same genetic code as Killer Croc and they would be too unstable, but they don't listen. They then throw Mr. Freeze away and start their hunt for Batman. But Bane had other plans. First, he wanted to get revenge on Killer Croc. So while Croc attacks the GCPD building, he ambushes him and the both of them fight. Batman tries to stop them before their fight destroys the city, but he is stopped by Clayface. Clayface mutates as Freeze said since he is an unstable subject. The mutation burns him and transforms him into lava. Batman has the plan to stop the monster, but they need more time. That is when Robin comes out with an idea. He will distract the monster until Batman can start, so he takes the Batmobile and distracts Clayface. Batman then runs away on his bike to the nearby Wayne lab, where he also meets up with Green Arrow. Both of them have been developing huge mechs to fight against the monster, using the same technology that we saw earlier in Batman's party. Green Arrow and Batman then jumped onto their mechs and started flying to the battle. Batman takes care of Killer Croc and Green Arrow of Chemo. In the meantime, Robin uses the Batmobile arsenal to distract Clayface, finally destroying him with missiles and lasers. While this won his time, Clayface then regenerates and blasts Robin back. Green Arrow tries to get the attention of Chemo, but he is concentrated on his mission of freezing the city, probably because he is under the influence of Freeze's device. Green Arrow then destroys Chemo's device and primary weapon with his own supercharged bow, with laser arrows. Now Free Chemo attacks Green Arrow and both of them create a shockwave from the amount of force involved. Batman on the other side of the city is busy fighting Croc. He beats Croc, but Bane wakes up from his fight with Croc and starts wrestling Batman. For a second, Bane and Killer Croc join forces to destroy Batman's mech, but luckily Batman has a backup plan and with his booster pulls back Bane. Once again, hand to hand with Croc, he easily beats him and makes him shrink back to normal. But Bane, it's not done yet. He knocks down Batman, making his mech useless for a second. While Batman reboots his mech, Bane takes advantage of him and starts destroying Batman's armor. While it took some time, Batman backed up his mech and punched Bane right in the face. The both of them crash, but Batman outmaneuvers him and throws him to the ground. At the GCPD Police Department, Robin, Nightwing, and the Flash are working on a beam that Batman thinks will destroy Clayface. The blueprints need all kinds of rare materials that are really hard to find. Flash runs out to find them, but time is running short, and no other than that Mr. Freeze appears in the shadows. The team's first impressions are that Freeze wanted to sabotage them, but Construct he wants to help. He feels betrayed, and acknowledges that Penguin used him for his own perverse purposes. Now it is his responsibility to help clean up the mess they made. Robin and Flash didn't trust Freeze, so they tried calling Batman to see if they could accept Freeze's help. But Batman is fighting against Bane, and their communication is being cut. Batman throws away Bane and responds to Robin as fast as he can. He advises them to trust Freeze. While he did some bad things in the past, it was always because of regret, showing that he can do the right thing in the right circumstances. Batman then hangs out and keeps fighting Bane. With a bit of a hustle, Batman cuts Bane's serum devices and breathes. Without them, he loses all of his strength. Batman uses this moment of weakness to take him down and reduce him back to his normal state. Back on the shores of Gotham, Green Arrow is having a hard time against Chemo. Chemo's flexibility and enlarged powers make him a hard target to hit. Green Arrows get pinned down to the shores and almost destroyed. He then comes up with a plan to beat Chemo, using buildings he owns. He throws Chemo to them, knowing there was no risk of hurting civilians since the building was already evacuated. But Green Arrow's plan backfires, as when he is about to check on Chemo, he ambushes him and destroys the building on top of Green Arrow's mech. Now on the ground, Chemo spits acid all over Green Arrow. The mech loses one arm and the feet. Without a guard, Green Arrow looks to have lost the battle, but just in time Batman appears to knock out Chemo and save Green Arrow. At the GCPD, with the help of Mr. Freeze, the heroes team is ready to try out the laser on Clayface. As Clayface attacks, the temperature starts rising and Mr. Freeze, since he is out of his protective suit, can't stand it. In those conditions, he could die. But he wants to fix his mistakes and still keeps firing the laser at Clayface, freezing him and getting him back to his normal state. On the shores, Chemo hits back Batman and with a quick elastic swing destroys one of Batman's mech's arms. Doing some quick thinking, Batman then takes out his arm, making it self-destruct and throwing it to Chemo. As Chemo recovers, Batman takes Green Arrow's left arm, as he is not using it anymore. With the power of Green Arrow's energy bow, Batman cracks a hole in the Chemo suit, pinning him down and destroying it with some quick punches. Arrow then takes advantage of the crack and fires an explosive arrow there, giving Batman enough time to suck Chemo's life source from the crack itself. Back in the city, Penguin is enjoying his new kingdom of Gotham, not releasing that the ice from all over the city is melting. As he is about to get hit by an avalanche, Batman appears and grabs Penguin's vehicle. Knowing that he lost, Penguin curses Batman and the Justice League members. All the members of the villains team are now back to normal, and the police department captured them all and sent them back to Arkham. All but Mr. Freeze. Robin found Freeze's suit just in time before his condition went worse. Despite that, for all the damage he caused, he still expects to be put in jail, hoping there he can be alone and not bothered by other villains. In Arkham, Penguin is put in the cell next door to Joker, remembering how Penguin didn't want to help Joker before the clown opened a secret door and got into the Penguin's cell and beat him for all the trouble he caused him. We then see the whole heroes team reunited in the Batcave discussing how well the mission went and that he should team up once again. The last thing we see is in the middle of Gotham. Clayface broke the ice that imprisoned him and is once again in the streets, meaning that the next mission of the team will be to find him and bring him to justice.